I got to tell you, out of all the series that I've done, the best 23 tips in 23 years series that I've learned, I got to tell you that this is probably my favorite one. The home buying one is fun. Home selling one is fun too. But giving the best agent tips is definitely the most fun because I can relate with you and I really enjoy your comments. So today, guys, what we're going to talk about is tip number 6, leave your ego at the door. Leave your ego at the door. Tip number 6 of the best real estate tips I've learned in 23 years. So today, guys, we're just going to sit down, you and I, and we're going to have a quick chat over this issue of ego, right? Now, let's be clear. In real estate, I think you'd agree with me that real estate is probably the most narcissistic, egotistical business that I certainly have ever been in, right? I mean, when you think about it, we got faces on our business cards, we got faces on our signs out in the front. We have our name and faces on everything. Right? I mean, this is really a brand of real estate that's come about since really 1980, when this whole issue of personal branding came about, 1980 or 90 or something. Right around that time is really when personal branding and postcards came about. And ever since that time, agents have been asking, don't you know who I am? I mean, they've been asking that ever since, right? And so many agents have taken this issue of name recognition to the extreme that it creates problems for your business and ultimately it costs you money. It really does. So let's go into really 3 ways why this costs you more money than needed to, right? 3 reasons why you need to leave your ego at the door. Tip number 1, well, it costs you money because agents, they don't want to work with you. That's a hard truth. It's a small community. It really is. It's a small community. Across the United States, there's only 2 million realtors. Now, I know it probably feels like they're all in your town, but the truth is that there's not that many. There's 365 million Americans, and 2 million of those are realtors. And when you think about it, okay, it's kind of a small community where you practice. If you just ask around a little bit, you won't have to ask too far. You won't have to look too hard, and you won't have to, search under every rock to find who the agent is that guy or gal. Right? You don't have to ask around. You're going to find out who that guy or gal is, the one you need to look out for. And chances are, if you're asking around and you can't find out, nobody seems to know who the jerk agent is, it might be you, right? I mean, when you think about it, if you're an agent that's difficult to work with because of your ego, all right, then people don't want to bring buyers to your listings because they know that they're going to have to deal with you and your staff. At some point, your staff might be great, but they might have to deal with you. And sometimes that can be all too problematic, right? Especially when it comes to your staff. Now, look, I get it that there's staff turnover. But when you have rapid staff turnover, okay, and every time you turn around, somebody's changing a position. Doesn't matter if it's your ISAs, doesn't matter if it's your buyer's agents, doesn't matter if it's your marketing director, doesn't matter if it's your listing manager, doesn't matter if it's your listing agents or your sign plan. Doesn't matter who it is. If you keep running through a lot of people, okay, it's going to be difficult for you to make a lot of money because you got to keep training and paying and restarting and restarting and restart. It's hard to keep any momentum going when you have to keep restarting and repaying all the time. I wrote down tip number 2, it costs you money because clients don't want to use you. Word gets out. Yelp reviews are right around the corner, my friends. Oh, of course, you might have won an award here or there. You might have got the accolades from your peers. But the reality is that the people who pay you the money quickly cue into your game. They get sick of your stuff, right? For now, you can keep up the BS with your clients. But eventually, your clients see through you. Oh, maybe it's your guy who's lending you money. Maybe it's the guy who's doing deals with you. Maybe it's your partner. Maybe it's your friend. Maybe it's your wife. Maybe whoever. But they eventually see through the facade you put up and realize that you're just not really that much fun to be around because of your ego. See, the time is coming where your name will precede you. We live in a world today where Google and everything is a hand breadth away. It's on your phone. And clients want to be the center of your world. At least they want to think that you're the center of the world, right? They want you to think of them as the center of your world. That's what they want, okay? And they want to have that perception that you're up all night thinking about them. But they know very quickly that that's never going to happen if it's all about you and how good you are and how great things are for you and yada, 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 you. They can't fill that space because you're too busy worshiping yourself. Tip number 3, the third thing, it costs you money because you can't grow as fast. I wrote down, there's a difference between ideas and implementation. You know, some people are exceptional with ideas. Some people are very good with ideas. They can, come up with an idea lickety-split, but they're not so good at implementation. And do you have anybody like that in your life? See, I know a guy who's really good with ideas like that. I mean, he's very smart, right? But he's terrible when it comes to implementation. Here's the great scheme. I want you to execute. Great. See, the problem is when you try to execute or implement your dreams based on your ego without any solid concrete ideas of how to execute, right? Well, then it's difficult for you to learn. It's difficult for you to grow. It's difficult for you to execute these ideas because you will never listen to the input of other people. You have great ideas. Maybe you have great ideas, but if you have an ego issue, you won't ever listen to other people on how you can implement your great ideas. You see, Gary Vaynerchuk, in case you're not aware of him, is great. Got a great podcast you need to listen to. Gary V says, ideas are shit. Implementation is everything. And that is the absolute truth. You can be wonderful at creating and creative ideas, but if you cannot find the implementation steps, if you can't ground yourself and figure out that you don't know everything, you need to figure out the hard steps way to make things happen, well, then you're going to have a real tough time accelerating or growing or moving at the pace you want to. Not because you're dumb, not because you're ignorant, but because you're just too damn proud. You won't shut up and listen. If you want to make more money, you need to leave your ego at the door. Guys, that's the best tip I've got for you today. Tell me what your thoughts are. I'd love to hear them. Have, as always, a powerful sales day. Bye-bye.